Hey class, let's go over job skill 14-2 together. This is writing checks. This is writing checks for a company. First thing you're going to need is blank form 56. If you look over here on the left hand side of my screen, this is a blue hyperlink. You click it, it's going to populate this on the right hand side of my screen. So I've done a split screen so that you can see both sides. The next thing that you could refer to is the textbook, and I've shown you how to get into the full book from this page and then how to locate those. Let's go ahead and read the directions. You have received 2 invoices for the Practon Medical Group. So our 2 invoices are up here at the top. This is invoice 1 and this is invoice 2. If you see those at the top. It says handwrite or type 2 checks for Dr. Practon's signature to pay these bills. So we've got 2 checks attached to this. This is check 1 and this is check 2 here. It says the check stub is shown on the face of the check for this exercise, but would actually appear as a stub shown in textbook figure 14-1B, or as a check register with consecutive lines for the date, check number, payee name, amount of check or deposit, and running balance. So I don't want you to get too confused with this note section. All that's talking about is right here on the check. If you see where it says date, item, amount, all this right here, that would actually in real life be at the top of the checkbook, where you would write all that information at the top. So once you rip the check out, you would have that to reference where that check actually ended up. Or you could have a check register, which could be at the back of the checkbook, or you could have it in a totally different book that you keep the register on, like a black, we call them a black book. I know y'all probably heard of that. Or you can use an accounting software system, which is actually, I manage a medical group in Gainesville, and that's what I use. I have a check register, so I don't have the checks that have the little stubs at the top. I have a check register, and then I also use an accounting software system. But for this example, this little stub here is not in the correct place. That's all it's letting you know when it says note. It actually would be at the top of the check. So let's go ahead and gather our material. Let's take a look at everything. It says date the first check May 27th of the current year. So this is our first check here. We would date it right here. If you see that little section there, it says date. We also would want to make sure that we write the date in here when we do it. So I'm not going to, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so y'all can see that better. I'm not going to write in the dates right now, but that's what we would do. Make the check payable to the first invoice. So we've got here is the first invoice. So right here where it says pay to the order of, we would write the company's name. And I do not think it'll let you copy and paste in this system. It will not. But you can take that and type it in down here. And then the next line is going to be their address. So that would be the 340. And the next line would be the rest of their address. So this is address 1, address 2, and this is who we're actually writing it to. The date would go in here, and make sure that you write the full date. You want to make sure the full date is there. So full name, full address 1, full address 2, the date is there. Number 3 says, make the check payable for the amount due indicated on the invoice. So we're looking at this invoice here. We're going to look at the total amount due. We would make that the amount for the check. So you would just type that in, the full amount down here under check amount. You are also going to have to handwrite that. So pay, and it says dollars. So it's letting you know how much you're going to pay to them. So make sure that you handwrite. So if it was $50, you would just do, let's see, it's $50.25. You would do it just like this, 50 and 25 over 100. So that's how that would look. So you would write the amount in there. It says insert the balance forward from the checkbook on the check stub. The amount is, and it tells you an amount. So what this is talking about here is the check stub. If you see that, look, that's the key there, check stub. So this is the stub right here where it says date, item, and amount. So what I would do is, and this is actually what I do, is I would write previous balance, and I do abbreviations for it, and I would write that amount in here. So let's say that the amount was 1,000. We know it's not, but I'm just using an example. So that's what you would write there. And then note the date, what the check is for, and the amount on the check stub. So we know the date of this check was 5/27/2020. what it is for. So this, if you look under this invoice here, it is for what? Office supplies. Those are all office supplies. This is very, very important to make sure that you put what the check is for, not who it's to. Reason being is for accounting reasons. So end of year taxes and deductions, it doesn't matter who you paid. It matters what you paid for. So we paid office supplies and the amount that we wrote. So let's say that this was $50. The amount that you're going to use is actually the amount that's up here in this invoice. I'm just trying not to give you the amounts on here. So then what you're going to do, it says note the date and check. That's what we just did. Number 6, calculate a new balance and record it. So this is going to be what we call a current balance. And we would just write it just like that, current balance. And then you're going to write the amount in. So 1,000 minus 50 would be 950. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your previous balance, which it references in number 4. You're going to take what you purchased, the amount that you purchased, put it under here in office supplies, and then your current balance is going to be this number minus this number would equal this number, if that makes sense. And then it says bring the balance forward to the next check number. So if our current balance was $950, what we would do is this next check number, our previous balance is now $950. So there's that. That's all we need to do there. And then the next one, we're going to do the same thing. So check 486, it tells you the date, tells you who we're writing it to. I wish that my power bill was this cheap. Make the check payable for the amount due indicated on the invoice. So you're going to check for that on here. And then it says calculate a new balance to record. So that's what I did here. This is the new balance. So you're going to put in what it was for. Then you're going to put in the current balance, and that's going to be this amount minus this amount will equal that amount. You're going to write out the check the same way as you did for this one. And then our last step is number 13, record the date paid, check number, and amount paid on each invoice. So if you see up here, this gray area, it says date paid. So we would write the date that it indicated we paid it. So we have that date over there. The check number, so the check number is going to be the actual check number on the check, so 485 would be for this one, and then the amount that you paid, so you would, the total amount that you paid to them. Same thing here, you would do the date paid, you would do the check number, which is right there, 486, and then the amount that you were paying. So I hope that all makes sense. I try to explain it the best of my ability without actually giving you the numbers that you need to input, because I do not want to give you the answers. But if I've confused you for some reason, just email me. Thank you and have a great day.